Hi, my name is Natalie. I'm a violence prevention educator, and today we're talking about boundaries. Boundaries are lines that indicate limits. So picture a fence or a property line, something that indicates a limit, a no trespassing sign or private property sign. Boundaries show where one person ends and another begins. The biggest thing that we all know about boundaries, even if we don't know what boundaries are yet, we all know our personal space bubble. And a healthy space bubble changes size depending on who's around you, where you are. If you're in an elevator with a bunch of people, your space bubble can't be that enormous. If you're like me and you're a skier or a snowboarder, your space bubble might be huge when you're out on the slopes. So boundaries also provide us with a sense of ownership. It gives you the freedom to know what you own and take responsibility for it. So when I talk about boundaries, usually I'm asking a bunch of questions like, in what areas do we need to establish boundaries? Who do we need to establish boundaries with? I can't ask you that right now, but if we were to think about who we need to establish boundaries with, it is everyone. So we need to establish boundaries in intimate relationships with family members. We need to have them with classmates, coworkers, teammates. Establishing boundaries help us indicate limits, lets people know what we're okay with, what we're not okay with, and it also helps us protect ourselves and keep ourselves safe. We can also establish boundaries with ourselves in terms of what we're going to do, what we're not going to do, how we're going to treat ourselves. So boundaries are important because they help us with our own expectations, needs, and desires. So they can protect you both emotionally, physically, and spiritually. So having an awareness of your boundaries helps you discover your true self. So you keep the good in, but expel the bad. So you keep the bad out. That is one way that you're establishing boundaries and keeping yourself safe. If you don't have clear boundaries, oh no, horrible things can happen. People can take advantage of you. You may get stuck doing things you don't want to do, all because you can't say no. Or you might end up doing something just because you feel like you have to, even if it's not something you want to do. Also, part of not having boundaries is there's a chance that you develop codependency. I'll show you codependency really quick. So in a healthy relationship, we have you, a me, and then there's an us, okay? So, but with codependency, what we see is you, me, and us. So the me in this is the codependent, and they depend on the you for everything. So how they're feeling, what they should wear, how they should act, their self-esteem, their self-worth, who they are. Their world revolves around the you. So as somebody who's codependent, the me, it's like their sense of self, their sense of who they are, it all revolves around the you. So I don't know how I'm feeling, but if you're happy, then I'm happy. And if you are sad, then I'm sad. But if you're sad as a codependent, my whole self-worth is making you feel better, making you feel good, making you the better, right? So my future goals and dreams all revolve around the you. So me decides like, hey, I want to go to college, I want to become a doctor and I want to travel the world. Well, you goes like, no, that's not happening. That's not what you're doing. The me shuts that down and says, oh, okay, well, tell me what to do. Tell me how to act. Tell me what I want. So the whole sense of self is lost. So we want this healthy relationship where there's clearly a you, there's clearly a me, and that's equal. And then there is a little bit of us, but we both retain who we are. So that's hopefully explains a little bit about what codependency is. But basically the me their life revolves around pleasing the you, becoming who they think the you wants them to be. So knowing who we are, what we think, believe, want, like, enjoy, and love, the way we think, all those different things are ways to establish healthy boundaries and have a better sense of our separateness from other people. Knowing who we are also can help us maintain our sense of reality. We will know who we are, who we're not, what we believe, what we think, what we feel, and what we'll allow and not allow in our lives, or not what behaviors we're comfortable with, just different things. But maintaining that sense of reality when things outside of our control are going crazy. So I'm going to kind of show how to establish boundaries, what we're looking for, and hopefully explain better about your boundaries. So this is another fun drawing thing, but you get to do this one with me. So if you have a sheet of paper, you're going to, I think I'm going to use this color for, so here's me. You're going to put your name in there. I just put me, but you'll put your name in there, or you can write myself, whatever. But this is you. So nothing should be in this level, right? This is you. It's your body. Basically, think of your mind, your body, and or your spirit. But this is you. Nothing should be there in this circle except for you. Then we have level 1, and this level is the group that has earned your trust. They're trustworthy, you appreciate them, you love having them in your life, they're good to you, and they don't take advantage of you. And if you tell them a secret, you can trust them to keep it. So in level 1, you put the people who are closest to you, who you can trust. So in this level, I'm going to put my dog, because my dog is awesome, and I love my dog, and I can tell my dog secrets, and my dog respects it. And I'm not scared of my dog doesn't make me feel in fear, my dog respects me, and we have fun together more often than not. So then in level 2, you put in people who you are close to, but not super close. Examples for one other than your dog. It could be mom, maybe dad, sister, brother, cousin, best friend for sure. Maybe just think of people you're close to, grandparent, just awesome people in your life. Then level 2, same thing. Maybe you're close to them but not as close. So it could be friends, it could be teammates. Maybe you have a another group of people that you're close to, club mates, I don't know. 3, these are people you're not as close to, but you may have daily contact with them. And then we have level 4, okay? So level 4, these are people in your life, but you don't really trust them. You can't really let them in, tell them secrets. You couldn't trust them to listen to you or anything and respect you that much, but they're in your daily life. So, for example, I super love my cat, but I am in fear of her, so she would go in level 4, okay? And she might be right outside, so I need to be quiet because I am definitely terrified of her. But she's really loving sometimes, but then other times she's like super duper scary. So she goes in my level 4. These change with time. They change consistently. If somebody comes in and they do something bad, you want to move them out. If a new person comes into your life, sometimes people are like, new person, awesome. Come into my level 1. Let me tell you everything about myself. I have no secrets. I'm just a book, and come live with me, stranger I just met. And then that's just bad. So you get to know someone a little bit at a time. And then after 2 years, they can maybe come into your level 1. I think that's somebody with super rigid boundaries. So when we think about this, there's people with weak boundaries, they wouldn't even have this. There would just be a giant 1. And everyone is in, everyone's my best friend, I can trust the world. And then people with super rigid boundaries, everyone is in 4 or outside of 4, and no one's getting in. So there's a moat, a giant fortress, a giant wall, and then a moat with sharks in it. So no one's getting in, no one's going to know the real me. And that's dangerous. But this can change because my cat didn't try and kill me for the 3rd month in a row, so that was really cool. So she'll get to move up, right? And she's earned my trust. She's been really loving and sweet and just awesome, right? So she could move into 1, but it's not moving her straight in there after she's hurt me. But she hasn't bit or scratched in a long time, so I'll move her to 1. And this would never happen ever. But my baby dog, if he did something wrong, if I have, really good boundaries, I'll slowly move him out. Maybe you're becoming... that would never happen. My dog is perfect. But, just in fantasy land, if he did something or became toxic or something like that, then I'd have to move him out. But that would never happen. No, because he's the best. Alright, so does that make sense? You're putting people you're closest to, people you're close to but not super close with, and then just acquaintances, people you see, classmates, and then in your outside level, people you have everyday interactions with but aren't that close with. So this is one of the projects that we do in some of my classes where we define who's healthy in our lives and maybe who we have to cut out, toxic people who bring us down, people who aren't healthy for us. All right, so now that we've done this project, boundaries aren't just for controlling people. They also help us establish behaviors that we're comfortable with. So on another sheet of paper, you would write behaviors that you're comfortable with. And then draw a line, and you're going to go uncomfortable. Because we're learning how to set boundaries, and so we're learning where we establish them. So, let's see. Right now, during this time, I'm really uncomfortable with any kind of touching, any kind of hugs. I'm uncomfortable with people being within 6 feet of me. So, again, that's where I would set my boundaries. I am comfortable with, let's see, what am I comfortable with? Respect, so those are things that I like. I am comfortable with a wide range of humor, so I enjoy laughing and I enjoy a wide variety of humor. But honestly, when I normally do this in classes, I put that I am uncomfortable with people chewing or making noises when they eat, like those disgusting slurping or chomping. Ew, it's so gross. So I'm uncomfortable with chewing loudly or eating with your mouth open. Ew, gross. I can't handle that. That's, see, like I have to immediately establish a boundary. Like, can you close your mouth while you eat, please? Okay. I do have a list that I've made through the years of going to schools, because usually I would have this on a whiteboard and we would be talking about what are you comfortable with, what aren't you comfortable with. So let's see. Oh, these are good. Back in the day when we were around people, people were comfortable with holding hands. That's nice. And some people are comfortable with dancing. Again, everyone's individual. Everyone has things that they're comfortable and they're not comfortable with. Oh, manners. Manners are nice. How fun. Ooh, they were comfortable with confidence. Maybe you're comfortable, with cuddling. That's cute. I don't know. Somebody said that they were comfortable with keeping it real. And others were comfortable with wrestling, so that's fun. Uncomfortable with abuse. Super uncomfortable with that. I'm not comfortable with drama. That's something I'd like to cut out of my life. Also, gossiping. Not that comfortable with that. Gossips. Ew, and I don't like stealing. I think that's sad. So just different things. And if I'm not comfortable with stealing, then I'm not going to steal, and I don't want others to steal from me. Ooh, some other things that people are not comfortable with. We see bad hygiene or poor hygiene, glaring, being nosy. Actually, some people were uncomfortable with being touched. They were uncomfortable with eavesdropping, harassment, somebody straight staring at them all the time, lying, a better than you, like snooty attitude, and we had racism on here, and then taking things without permission. Like, I felt like that was like when their siblings went into their bedroom and started taking their stuff. So just think about what behaviors you're comfortable with and what you're not comfortable with. Alright, so we went over what we're comfortable and what we're uncomfortable with. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about what happens when you have underdeveloped boundaries. That's the everyone in level 1, no secrets from the world. Everyone can, like, come into my home, grab what they want. Not really. I'm, like, probably more of a fortress person. I don't know. Once you are able to establish healthy boundaries, your boundaries can become flexible. But some people, like, picture a tiny, like, just line on the ground and anyone can step over it. They basically try and please anyone. So they go against their own values to please others. They will allow people to take as much as they can from them. They're basically what we see in some stories or books where, like, the first person they meet, they fall madly in love with, or falling in love with anyone who's interested in them. Letting others dictate who they are, telling them what they like, what they don't like, and believing that others know what they need more than they do. We're taught different boundaries when we're little. So we're taught, like, don't take candy from strangers. We even have books that are like, don't take food goods from, like, other people, or you'll end up in a cottage in the woods being tortured by a witch, right? So don't accept candy from strangers. But if you don't have that kind of boundary, you'll take, and like what anyone tries to give you, you'll just take it. All because you're basically a people pleaser who just wants people to like you and accept you. Not healthy. So then we have the other side of this. So the other end of the spectrum, the overdeveloped boundaries, is like super, no one's getting in this fortress, this wall, this like molten lava moat, right? And so on. So they're not getting past that. They absolutely cannot ask anyone for help. They are unable to admit when they're wrong. They have difficulty making friends or keeping friends. What happens is they lack the ability to say they love someone. So they've been dating this person for like 3 years, and then they're like, oh no, I think I love them. So they're like, there's the door, out of my life. You're getting in past that fortress, and I can't have that. So they absolutely can't say I love you. No close friends. They end up having to use people. They aren't able to be vulnerable in front of other people, so they lack that intimacy with other people. They don't trust anyone, and they don't try to like have people come in and know their true self. And that's sad too. So there is a balance, but understanding that balance goes back to who's in your level 1, who's in your level 2, your 3 and 4. So now we're going to learn how to make boundaries. So my favorite sheet is when you identify a boundary that you need to set, do it clearly, preferably without anger, and in as few words as possible. You don't need to justify, rationalize, or explain why you're setting that boundary. Just set the boundary and let it be that. You're not responsible for that other person's feelings. No person, situation, or thing can make you feel a certain way. You choose your feelings even if you're not aware of it. So remind yourself of that when you're setting a boundary. You are not responsible for their feelings. You are only responsible for protecting yourself, keeping yourself safe, and establishing that boundary for your own health, your well-being. So at first you might feel selfish, guilty, or embarrassed when you set the boundary, but do it anyways. Setting boundaries takes practice and determination. Don't let low self-esteem, anxiety, or just lack of self-worth prevent you from setting a boundary. You need to take care of yourself. When you feel anger, when you feel disgusting, dirty, icky, or find yourself whining or complaining, that might be a signal that you need to set a boundary. So listen to yourself, determine what boundary you need to set, and then communicate that assertively. So look the person in the eyes, let them know what you need, and ask them to follow that. So most people are willing to respect your boundaries. Most people are willing to help you with your boundary setting, but some people aren't, and they won't respect that boundary. You can set that boundary multiple times, and if somebody is not respecting your boundaries, even after you've told them, like, this is the boundary I'm setting, please respect it, and they continue to violate your boundaries, that would be time to cut that person out of your life. Sometimes in extreme cases we have to do restraining orders, but most people are willing to respect your boundaries. Learning to set healthy boundaries takes time. It's a process. You will set boundaries in your own time when you're ready. It's a growing process. Sometimes it takes a counselor, a friend, or a mentor to help you set those boundaries or understand exactly how to set a boundary. So those are options out there that you can find to help you with your pace and process. Develop a support system of people who respect your right to set boundaries. Eliminate those toxic people from your life. It may be somebody that you really care about, but they just don't respect you, and they are violating your boundaries. That would be the time to cut them out. So setting boundaries allows your true self to emerge, and that is the goal. We want you to be safe, healthy, and have the ability to keep yourself safe. Now, we look at strong or weak boundaries, but normally I read off a sheet and I ask my class, are these weak or are they strong? I'll give you a couple examples of them, and just think to yourself, but I'll give you the answer. So Joseph and Manuel are playing around, and Manuel smacks Joseph in the back of the head. Respectfully, but without smiling or laughing, Joseph makes eye contact with Manuel. Says, listen, Manuel, I know you're only playing around, but I don't like when people put their hands on me. Do not smack me like that again. So, do you think that's strong or weak? Hopefully you know that that's a strong boundary. Ew, this one. Okay, I'm going to read this one. Sandra and Sam are kissing. Sam starts to push up Sandra's shirt, but Sandra doesn't want to go any further. She quietly says, I don't know if we should be doing this, Sam. Sam says, it's okay, don't worry, and continues. Sandra lets him, even though it makes her feel uncomfortable. Then she finally says, it's getting late, I have to go home. So, do you think that that's a strong or weak boundary? It's basically an example of a weak boundary. Again, that's part of like establishing your boundaries. Know that you deserve to be protected. Know that you deserve to stand up for yourself. And know that you deserve to stay safe. So, there's lots of examples. So, is there a boundary that you need to set with someone? What is the boundary that you need to set? I'll give you time to think about that. And then what can you say or do to set that boundary? I have to think about that too. What is a boundary that I need to set? All good questions, I think. So lastly, we've learned that we need to set boundaries, how to set boundaries, what happens when we have weak or super rigid boundaries. If you don't establish boundaries, you can suffer from low self-esteem, self-worth, feeling like you're never good enough, feeling out of control, feeling like you never get your needs met, and then maybe feeling responsible for fixing other people's problems, or even more violence or abuse. But again, like abusers, bullies, those types of people, they're boundary busters. So even if you try and set a boundary, they're not going to respect it. They're more along the lines of a toxic person that you need to see if you can remove from your life. So establishing boundaries will help you live a healthier life. You'll be happier. You'll be able to communicate effectively. You'll get your needs met. It increases your self-esteem and self-worth. You won't let other people take advantage of you, and you'll have more respect for yourself. So setting boundaries helps protect you, and setting limits and accepting responsibility will save you. Okay? So remember, there are lots of boundaries that you need to establish with people. You have a lot of good information in this. If you have any questions, you can always email the link. And I appreciate you so much. You deserve to set boundaries, and you deserve good things. You are awesome. Thank you so much for watching my video. And don't forget, if you like or enjoy my videos, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.